Hey guys, welcome back. We are doing an talking Oscars, and it's one of two that I'm doing this week because I didn't really realize that BAFTAs were dropping their shortlist. So I'll do supporting actor tomorrow, but I did want to do a little talk about the BAFTA shortlist and what does that say for Oscars? How does that help or hurt Oscar chances? Does it? And this is one of those cases where I would say this one actually does have a little bit of. Um, this is the first thing where we've actually gotten that, oh, this one matters. Critics don't matter. I'm sorry, we don't. All we're doing is hyping certain films, and we're trying to get certain films in conversations and get films nominated. But when people in the industry actually start voting, those are the people who are vote for the Academy. So what this shows is because we're not the American motion picture. It's not. You don't have to just be living in this country. We're not looking for people who are just, born and bred in America. No. So we have international members. And it's always good to know how their voting body thinks. And this is what we're getting, is sort of a precursor look to how the British members in each one of these bodies are voting and what they're thinking about and what they're looking at. And that's why this is really interesting. And this is, yet again, this is one of those cases where, lo and behold, I click on an article and guess who's leading in the nominations of the shortlist? All Quiet on the Western Front. It's the film that no one wants to talk about except me. It's the film I've been talking about since like the very beginning. It's Best Picture potential. The only reason I got a little weird about it is because I don't know if we'll nominate more than one foreign language film or if our decision to leave. I don't know how that vote splitting is going to work, but it's very obvious to me that the industry respects All Quiet on the Western Front a hell of a lot more than pundits and critics do, because it's making all these shortlists. It has acting nominations at the BAFTAs, so which is sort of atypical because they're nominating actors who are not, it's like nominating Americans to them because they're not rewarding Brits, and that sort of is where you get into the who's dead, who got dealt one, like a knockout roundhouse kick, who got Jean-Claude Van Damme in the face, and that was Olivia Coleman. Olivia Coleman might have just been decapitated yesterday by Jean-Claude Van Damme just roundhouse kicking her, courtesy of the BAFTAs. Just what a snub. What a massive, to be British, to be as lauded as she is, to look at that list of nominees and for her to not be on it for Best Actress, and like Ana de Armas is on there. That's another time where we've seen Ana de Armas. Could Ana de Armas be the surprise fifth nominee this year? Are we not paying attention? Are we writing her off because everybody hates blonde so much? They're like, it can't happen. Like we're convincing ourselves that this thing can't happen. I don't know anymore. But yeah, she couldn't pull a shortlist nomination. It's not even that see, here's the thing. She couldn't even pull a shortlist nomination for Empire of Light. This isn't even the final nominations. It's not like she missed out on nominations. Like she made the shortlist and then missed out on the final thing. No, she didn't even get shortlisted. They did nominate the film. They saw it. It's nominated for Best British Film. Michael Ward got a supporting actor nomination, but they didn't pick Olivia Coleman. The one person that we thought the whole time actually had a shot at a nomination over here, they were like, fuck you, go away. And didn't nominate her, didn't put her on the short list. So, I can't put her in my top 5 anymore. I can't do it. Because if she doesn't have the support of Brits, then Who does she have support from? That film is going nowhere. Her film, at best, now is down to Roger Deakins for cinematography. And that's only because it's Roger Deakins. If it was anyone else, it wouldn't matter how good that cinematography was. It's just Roger Deakins is so well respected in his craft that when you see Roger Deakins on the ballot, people just go, I didn't see it, but yeah, but check that vote off. It just feels like, and that's kind of what everybody's doing with Empire of Light. It doesn't really matter whether or not you saw it, liked it, hated it. People keep putting it in cinematography like it was here at the BAFTAs, because of Roger Deakins. So Empire of Light really didn't get the kind of traction. It wasn't named in Best Picture. It was just named in Best British Feature, which is like a different category where they knock out all the American things like Top Gun Maverick, and stuff like, and keep those out of there. Like, get out of here, Top Gun Maverick. And they only pick from British films. There were some films that obviously excelled. Like I said, All Quiet on the Western Front managed a Best Picture nomination. It also managed Best Director nomination. These aren't really nominations. I'm going to call them nominations just for purposes of the making life easier right now. It was on actor and supporting actor, and adapted screenplay, film not in the English language, and then just like a whole bunch of tech categories. I think it got score, visual effects, makeup. I think it got some down there, maybe cinematography. But it ended up with like the most nominations at the end of the day. That was what you were supposed to take away from this whole thing, is that the hottest film at the BAFTAs is All Quiet on the Western Front. So are we supposed to now take away from that? And I know that the next video that I watched from the Oscar expert, he's not even going to talk about it, because he didn't even talk about All Quiet on the Western Front the last time. And it's really frustrating because he has all these followers who are like, oh, he's the Oscar expert and he knows what he's doing. And it's like, dude, how do you not talk about a film that won the shortlist race at all? Like, you don't even want to talk about why you're not picking it. You're just going to pretend like it doesn't exist. I'm not pretending like it doesn't exist. I'm pretending like this film is obviously a film everybody has seen, because it keeps popping up. And it's a film that everybody has seen across the crafts. It's a film that in each one of these categories at our American Oscars and over at the British, that you can see that people are seeing in the categories in which they vote. And the fact that even the actors branch is seeing this film and then seeing actors that they like and performances they like to vote for. Yeah, I think it kind of says a lot. There were also some big snubs. Obviously, people were surprised Avatar got knocked out of Best Picture and Best Director. Which some stuff was going to get knocked out. This was always a voting body that was expected to help certain films out. One of them was supposed to be Empire Light. A lot of people were looking for this to be a potential launching pad for Olivia Coleman. Didn't happen. But the other thing was Aftersun, which performed rather well. With a Best Picture nomination. It's a British feature. Charlotte Wells has popped up in Best First Feature, Best Director, and Best Original Screenplay, I believe. And Paul Mescal for Best Actor. So, I mean, it got quite a few nominations. So it means people are seeing Aftersun. And if that film can squeeze in some votes. RRR didn't get quite the love from the Brits that it has other places. I don't know if that's a problem, but they don't really seem to appreciate RRR quite the same way that we have been trying to push it over here. It did get a middle finger non-English language nomination, I guess, because people don't submit from a country. It's just any film that, although, interestingly enough, every other film that was nominated is a film that is in consideration from that country for the Oscars. It's just RRR is not the selected film from India. So they picked RRR over the selected film from India. They're like, yeah, that's cute. The last the last movie show is, I'm sure, is fun, but no, we're gonna pick RRR. Nice try. What are some other snubs I noticed? Wendell and Wild didn't get an animated feature nomination, but the other thing that I also noticed was My Father's Dragon didn't get an animated feature, which, coming from an Irish animation studio, should be the absolute death knell in that film. Please God, please let that film be dead. So now the question is, if Wendell and Wild isn't getting nominated, then what's getting the other spot? We're still seeing the core four right now. It's weird that Puss in Boots is now in the core four, but it is. So we're seeing in that category Pinocchio, Marcel the Shell, Puss in Boots, and Turning Red all got nominations. That fifth spot is a little bit more up for grabs, and maybe it could go to something like The Bad Guys, which did pick up a shortlist nomination here. So, but Wendell and Wild was absent from the list. They did not, either they didn't see, screen, I don't know. Henry Selick's. It's hard to tell what they saw and what they didn't see. When a film is completely absent, but was only ever really expected to get into one or two categories in the first place, when that film doesn't get that one or two category, does it mean they saw it or didn't see it, didn't like it, they just didn't get enough votes? What haven't they seen? Brian Tyree Henry did not get a supporting actor nomination here for Causeway. Nothing happened for The Inspection. So Jeremy Pope's hopes of riding his Golden Globe nomination into a Best Actor nomination are dwindling. It seems to be that it didn't light a fire the way that I thought it might for him, by the Globes nominating him, making people go out and see his film and be like, ooh, yeah. Babylon was under-nominated here. If we're being honest, it's nominated, but it's under-nominated considering what a lot of people are expecting from Babylon. Margot Robbie missed out on the nomination, and they went ahead and nominated Naomi Aoki for I Want to Dance with Somebody, which, based on the critical reception for that film, we kind of thought she was dead. Here she is on the short list. But then again, they have weird nominations here. They have nominations that they're not going to happen. I'm sorry, but Daniel Kaluuya is not getting the Best Actor nomination for Nope. I know he's managed to get 2 Oscar nominations already, and cool, he's young, and but no, Nope is not. It's just not going to be he's not going to be the surprise nomination, especially considering the core 5 all got their nominations. They nominated Tom Cruise, which is like the most American thing ever. So the fact that they liked Tom Cruise's performance in Top Gun Maverick enough to give him a BAFTA shortlist means he really is in this race. I did not expect to see him at the BAFTAs. So I thought the film might get a little less love at the BAFTAs than it does here. I kind of expected that, kind of like with Avatar. But no, it actually showed up pretty strong, did pretty well. And don't worry, Banshees of Inisherin is still doing well. It got in everywhere it was supposed to get in. Elvis is still doing fine. God, my God, they nominated Tom Hanks. Please don't do that at the Oscars. That is one of my worst performances of the year. It's one of the reasons I don't like Elvis, actually. And I love Tom Hanks to death. For him to be the reason I didn't like a film is a lot. So I'm hope that's like the Jared Leto in House of Gucci for me. The performance that was a wild swing and a miss. But he managed to get a short list nomination here. The one thing that throws me a curveball personally is this whole thing that I've been talking about with the Fabelmans, which is my belief that Michelle Williams will be nominated as supporting actress, because when people look at the Fabelmans and they're looking at their ballots and they're looking at, okay, so I have Gabriel LaBelle is the lead, obviously, right? And his parents, I've got Paul Dano and Michelle Williams, so I'm going to vote for them in supporting actor, supporting actress. Like, that feels like the logical thing. Why would you split them? What makes her lead and him supporting? So much so that if you go back through and watch a whole bunch of people's videos from September before Universal announced that campaign was happening for the Fabelmans, that you'll notice everybody was just widely accepted the fact that she's supporting actress, she's probably going to win supporting actress, blah, 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 blah. And then now everybody pretends like that never happened. And they're all like, yeah, well, she's just best actress because that's what they said. It's not what she said. And every once in a while, people have not voted based on an FYC campaign, and they just vote based on what the film is, you know? Like, if I started trying to tell people Judd Hirsch was the lead of the Fabelmans for his 2 scenes, I don't think any FYC campaign you could possibly run for him would get him a Best Actor nomination. So, in fact, fun fact, my problem with this whole thing is none of the supporting actors for the Fabelmans got a BAFTA shortlist nomination. Not Paul Dano, not Judd Hirsch, not Seth Rogen, not, none. They left them all out. The only acting nomination that the Fabelmans got was Michelle Williams in Best Actress. So now I'm like, well, if the Oscars do that and they snub all of the actors, because if all you're thinking, if the only person you want to nominate from the film is Michelle Williams, maybe you do vote for her in Best Actress. Maybe we're looking at this the wrong way, and maybe none of the supporting actors get in for the Fabelmans. And another thing that's happening is Women Talking is falling apart again, and we keep acting like this film has a real shot at the Oscars. But we're ignoring the fact that it is not performing the way it's supposed to. And this is a film they obviously saw, because even though they didn't nominate it for Best Picture, and they left out all the actresses. No actress was nominated for Women Talking. However, Ben Whishaw was. So Ben Whishaw, who fails to get the Golden Globe nomination, and a lot of people thought his campaign was sliding out, he's the only actor nominated from that film. So what does that say about the film and its positioning? I think Women Talking is a film that is being pushed out. But Women Talking is a film that should not have been pushed out because, they needed to nominate more British films at the Oscars, at the BAFTAs, I didn't really think that was one that was in danger. I thought more American films would be in danger, but maybe Women Talking. So this has me kind of thrown. Everything Everywhere did fine. It got nominated everywhere it was supposed to. Don't worry about that. There's nothing about that that's changed. I love the BAFTAs. Thank you so much for recognizing Michael Giacchino's The Batman and shortlisting that for score. I don't know what happened over here with the Americans. I honestly, I guess they were drunk. I don't know. Nothing. I was a little underwhelmed by the documentary nominations because they didn't really change a whole lot. They're kind of overlapping. It's not like they swung back and were like, well, wait a minute. We really did love Goodnight Oppie, or we really did love Senior, or we really did love Sydney. They didn't really swing back around to any of the ones that were sort of like higher profile snubs and try to work them back in. They did pick a couple things that are not on the Oscar shortlist, but they pretty much picked like the same films, and the same thing with foreign languages. That was pretty predictable. That didn't really change much. So it's where did this move the needle? Um, for me, it's moving the needle in the direction that the Brits predictably loved British films. They loved Afterson. They loved Living. Um, they nominated films, at least even a little bit in places, films that weren't necessarily getting a ton of love. Brian and Charles is being nominated for has shortlisted for the best English feature. Um, so it's the Wonder was in there somewhere. I remember seeing The Wonder. I think did Florence Pugh get a nomination? I think so. Triangle of Sadness was accepted a lot more than I thought it was going to. Harris Dickinson with the Best Actor nomination. That's a left left field choice. But they also gave nominations to Woody Harrelson and Dolly De Leon. So they proved that they do like Triangle of Sadness a lot more. There really wasn't any love for The Menu. And there definitely was no love for Bones and All. So I'm sorry, but as much as people like Luca Guadagnino, his film is just not showing up. I don't even think I know people keep thinking Mark Rylance is going to make some sort of surprise supporting actor. No one's nominating the film. It can't get in anywhere. I don't know. I don't know where. This film needs a massive resurgence, and it's already its theatrical run is done. I don't know where it's gonna get that resurgence from. So I think Bones and All is gonna end up with 0 Oscar nominations come nomination morning, and it's very likely that The Menu could end up that way too. But it looks like Triangle of Sadness might hang on and get a couple things. I don't think it'll be for Woody Harrelson or Harris Dickinson, but that was a nice little nod to Dolly De Leon. I was actually really surprised Angela Bassett. Now, granted, the BAFTAs did have quite a controversy a little while ago too about not nominating actors of race, so maybe there was more of a focus that way. But it's not like there's a lot of love at the BAFTAs for Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. So this is one of those cases where it's like, are we just voting for Angela Bassett? Like, are there people who are just like, it doesn't matter, we're just going to vote for her. It's Angela Bassett. It's her time. We're just going to pick Angela Bassett. It's a weak category. And we don't want to vote for women talking. So we're going to vote for Angela Bassett. I don't know. We live in a world now where it's very possible that nobody from Women Talking gets nominated. It's actually starting to look more and more possible to me that the film doesn't get nominated. Not only does Sarah Polley, this film may end up getting like a screenplay nomination. This film really, truly could end up, its highest nomination might be Best Adapted Screenplay. If that. I don't know. But it keeps kind of underperforming. Babylon is underperforming. That's a huge sign. Diego Calva, Margot Robbie, no BAFTA love. Brad Pitt was the lone survivor, and he's Brad Pitt. So again, I'm not terribly surprised that he made a short list. I get more concerned when people like Brad Pitt and Margot Robbie don't make short lists. So yeah, I know it was a little bit all over the place, but those are my thoughts. There's some, yeah. I mean, you could, if you really sit down and look at the list, you'll find some really interesting choices in there. Emma Thompson, I think, managed both categories. I believe she's in for both Good Luck to You, Leo Grande, and Matilda the Musical in supporting. And both of her films were nominated for Best British Feature. So I maybe Emma surprises somewhere. I don't know. But she'll definitely do well at the BAFTAs. So, but my official ruling is what what has this killed? And the answer is Olivia Coleman. I have to move her out of my Best Actress. There's no way. If she has no support from the British voting members of the Academy, I don't know who's supporting her at this point, because this film is not lighting. It's not catching a fire over here in America. So nobody would be voting for her. Anyway, those are them's my thoughts. You can check out the BAFTA nominees and let me know what you think. Anyway, please subscribe so we can talk more Oscar stuff. The nominees we're just weeks away. So I'm going to have to start releasing full lists pretty soon of my final. I'm going to have to actually nail this thing down before January 24th. So we're getting close. That's it for me today. I will be back tomorrow with Best Supporting Actor talk, which is going to be interesting now that Paul Dano and the entire Fabelmans men didn't get a nomination. I don't know that it matters that much that Brian Tyree Henry didn't, though, because I don't know if they saw Causeway. It's a small film. Who knows? So we shall see how I feel tomorrow. Until then, I will see you on the other side.